Kundalini is not a new thing or something that has started in the modern times. It's the most ancient science of spiritual life. It's not that it was not understood or seen in other places than India that people knew about Kundalini. But the language used can confuse many people to think that Kundalini is something very localized or maybe something nationalistic. In our country, historically, if you see, India, we had three types of movements, broadly. The first movement on spiritual grounds was that of what we call the right side movement, meaning we were trying to control the nature. Or we were trying to control the nature through the will of God or through the will of that all-pervading power which we call as Chaitanya. Accordingly, we started having yajnas and other methods of invoking the spirit of these elements by which we could understand them and they could understand us. I feel the result of that today we see is the science that we have developed. The result of that, many seers in India saw so many things created in that great country much before we ever started writing the history. They had created great aeroplanes and all kinds of pilotless, not bombs, but aeroplanes in those days. That's a fact. Of course, it's difficult to face it because people can't believe it that our country would have produced such great things. The second kind of movement started in India was that of bhakti, of worshipping God. The people who were intellectuals started working through their intellect to create a rapport between human beings and the nature, and the other part of the people who were seekers thought it is better to sing the praise of God and invite His grace upon us so that the light of His love will expose all that is spiritual and higher than human awareness. And the third type of movement, which was very secretive in those days, was the movement of evolutionary process, by which a human being was to be made aware of his higher self, that was his spirit, his Atma, through Kundalini awakening. You'll be amazed that at the time of Sri Rama, his own father-in-law, who was Raja Janaka, had one disciple called Nachiketa. And he asked that he would like to know about his self, about his Atma. And Raja Janaka told him, you can take all my wealth, you can take everything that I have, but please don't ask me to give you enlightenment. But Nachiketa was very anxious and assiduous, and he achieved his goal ultimately. So at the time of Raja Janaka, we can say there were very few people who really received their self-realization. But on the whole, the people at that time, not being so complexed by mental projections and other problems of life, were very simple and were sensitive to the divinity. They understood who Rama was, they understood who Sita was, and they understood what divine power was in those days. Though they did not aspire to be the spirit, maybe, but so many of them knew about it. Now the Patanjali Yoga is described is the yoga was practiced in our country thousands of years back. Thousands and thousands of years back. When we had a very different type of a system existing. When we talk of yoga, I see here some sort of a exercise people do. I'm really amazed. It has nothing to do with yoga at all. Patanjali Yoga has got 8-fold processes, ashtangas. Out of that, the first and the foremost is Ishvara Pranidhana. Meaning you must establish your Ishvara within yourself. Means your Ishvara being the spirit must be first established. And then all the other 7 followed. Yamaniyama are there, which are very strict, and if you read them, we can think that hardly 1 or 2 persons in the whole world can follow that. And people can get a shock to know that you don't have to lead a married life and all those things were there. But because in those days there were hardly 1 or 2 persons who could get to that kind of thing, all these austere methods were given and were practiced in those days, and people did achieve their highest goal by first getting their self-realization and then going through the different training of their life and style to achieve the ultimate. So to say that Hatha Yoga means only standing on your heads is a very wrong idea about yoga. Yoga is a word come from the word yukti, joining. When your attention is enlightened by the spirit, or when the Jivatma becomes one with the spirit or with the divine power, then it is the real yoga. The another meaning of the word yoga is, which is being now misused, kaushalam, means the deftness. Those who first got their realization had to know the methods and the laws that govern human beings on the divine, means the divine laws, how they are acting and how we have to utilize them. And this knowledge was the real yoga kaushalam, or the deftness about the divine laws, how to operate them. As the time passed by, many things disappeared into thin air. And the great seers and yogis disappeared also in the Himalayas and all far-fetched caves because they thought human beings are incapable of understanding. Now those half-baked people who went round to them, they tried their level best to convince them that yoga is to be done only on the spiritual level to begin with. And once the Kundalini rises in this yoga, then only you know what problems you are and what it is related to. And then accordingly you have to do the yama and niyamas. Now towards yama and niyama, one relates to the collectivity, to the samashti, and the niyama relates to a human being. That means what you have to follow in your regular life is a niyama in your person, what you have to change. And the yama is where how much you have to bother about others, the society in which you live, the people with whom you have to relate. All that sort of a system doesn't exist today. Because in those days, as you know, there was complete brahmacharya for the students till the age of about 20 to 25 years after they got married, to such an extent that even the university in which the children studied was called by their gotras. For example, my gotra is Shandili. Now even today I cannot marry the same gotra. Means in one university you could not marry another person for generations together. Such a kind of a pure celibacy was exercised till the age of 25. But after marriage, people did not talk of these things. This was only till the age of 25 years, the kind of education in Patanjali style of universities was given. So today we are faced with the modern life. And in the modern life, to talk of Patanjali Yoga as it was and as should be is a very, very difficult thing. We can't expect people to give up their families, run away from their families, go to the remote corners of Himalayas and meditate. This is not the time for that. And the problem of the divine is this, that after creating this great world, after creating human beings, it finds that in our seeking, we have gone astray. Everywhere. I would not even say that in India we have not gone astray. Everywhere we have gone astray, and we have to accept that we have gone to extremes in all our seeking, whether it is Christianity, Hinduism or any religion. We have gone to extremes and we have committed mistakes, and the time has come for us to look back and see where are we. When I was born as a child, I felt now the time has come for people to get en masse realization. Otherwise there is no sin. Because whatever has happened, doesn't matter. Wherever they are, doesn't matter. They have to get to their spirit, otherwise you cannot talk to them about God. This is a fact. Today if you talk to young people, now you see this church is becoming Hindu center. And also Hindus as such today are their children. If you see them, they are not interested in religion, they are not interested in God. And we must face reality as it is and not have our own imagination about it. Because in that imagination we may lose the whole thing. So today when the world is so pressurized with all kinds of conflicts and all kinds of funny ideas and all kinds of unholy attacks on human beings, what is the solution? To give people self-realization. As they are, wherever they have to have their realization. And I decided that I'll work on the permutations and combinations of the problems of all the people, what problems they have, what they are suffering from. And can you remove the child, please? What? Just take the child out. Better take her out. That's better. Mother. So the problems of today are to be faced as they are, and a solution has to be found. As I told you, through my meditative powers, or we can say meditative surrendering, I found out that human beings have very few problems. And wherever they are, under whatever circumstances, whatever they have done, whatever mistakes so-called they have committed, whatever anti-God activities they have taken to, it is now absolutely essential that they have to get their self-realization. No use talking about God, no use talking about divine power, and no use telling them that you must balance your life, don't do this and don't do that, like all the 10 commandments. Take to ahimsa, take to this, take to that. Nobody is going to listen. This is what I found out, and that's how I worked out all the permutations and combinations that are hindering the growth of human beings into a higher realm of self. And when I worked it out, I was amazed that it's very little to be done. Human beings are already ready to be there. But the biggest thing that human beings have to have is the desire to change. As he said that, I'm related also to very sophisticated people of London and all over the world. But what I found among them, they have no desire to change. They are so self-satisfied and self-opinionated. They have no desire to change themselves, nor the world, nor anything. So no question of talking these things to them. But there's a category of special people who are called as seekers today, whom William Blake has called as the men of God, that they have to become the prophets, and they will have powers to make others prophets. And that time, that prophecy can be fulfilled today in this England, which is the Jerusalem. To me, when I'm in England, I must say I'm English. And all the problems of England, I face them as any English seer would like to see. At the time of Blake, as he saw it, I too see it the same way. Now when this Kundalini, which is placed within us, in the sacrum bone is awakened by some enlightened person. Then she pierces through the fontanelle bone area, which is called in Sanskrit as Brahmarandra. You get your real baptism, as they call it. This is what Christ said, you have to be baptized, you have to be born again. But it does not mean that anybody puts your hand on your head or makes you wear a Yagyokavita, you are born again. It's artificial. We must understand. As all reasonable, sensible people, we must understand that is not real. It is some sort of an artificial ceremony which is symbolic of something real behind it. So to have the real ceremony, what do we do? To have the real ceremony, there must be some method within us, and that method is already built in within us. All the scientists can ask a simple question to themselves. Why God has made us human beings from amoeba to this stage? What is the purpose of God to make us a human? And the answer, they will say we don't know. But perhaps if somebody says that one can know, this answer is that you are made like this, you are in a transition to become the spirit. When this instrument is put here and made, it has to be put to the mains, otherwise it doesn't work. First of all, you should be put to the mains. Otherwise, whatever you are doing it in a relative world, not in an absolute. Once you become one with that, then your whole language changes. Like Kabira says, is so much there. You can see he was a realized soul. And when he was a realized soul, he spoke with such authority, with such understanding of the divine. And when he said something, people never understood him. They used to laugh at him, mock at them. We have crucified people, we have beaten them. We have done not only in England, it's done everywhere. So the basis of all that is a simple ignorance, ajnana. That there is God, that there is all-pervading power, this Omkara, which we have to feel for the first time. You feel after the Kundalini awakening, before that it doesn't happen. So Patanjali Yoga also we use in the sense that once you get your realization, you have to understand how to maintain. You don't have to give up your families. On the contrary, in Sahaja Yoga, if you are not married, I find it's difficult to give you realization. It's surprising. In the whole of England, where we have thousands of people who have got realization, there's only one person who is not yet married, hasn't got realization. So those who don't marry are a little bit in imbalances, we think. They are on the extreme sometimes. So you are supposed to marry after a certain age. Not only that, but you have to lead a very, very normal life. All great sages of India have been married people. Like Nalanda was a married man. Kabira was a married man. Janaka was a married man. Even the incarnations like Rama, Krishna, all of them were married. So to say that austerity is going to bring in any good results, I don't think. Because it's also a mental projection. Like some people came to me and said, Mother, you are living in all luxury. And how is it you are so spiritual? I said, what have you done for spirituality? He said, I have given up my wife, I have given up my house, I have given up my car, I have given up everything. And now I am sitting before you here. I said, really? Why? I said, no. You worship Shri Krishna. And if you think anything worth the dust particle of Shri Krishna, you can take it from his house. But should be equal to the dust particle of his feet. That's one condition. He looked around everything. He said, there's nothing equal to that. So I said, what do you give up? You give up stones. What do you give up? Is it just a mental idea you have got in your head that you are giving up this and giving up that? In our Hindu concept, our idea of sannyasa is from within. As Janaka was called by Videhi, and his daughter as Videhi. Because though he lived with everything around, inside he had given up everything. It is how you are detached, because you are attached to a spirit, you are not attached to it. It exists. Now supposing today, as he has told you that I may be living in great luxury, but you will be amazed if I have to go to villages in India, I travel mostly in villages, I can live anywhere. I can take my bath in a river, I can sleep on the streets, I have no problem of any kind. Because, you see, what is there? In comfort. If it cannot fall upon you, you cannot become slave of comfort, and you don't see the value of this. But Some people have told me and asked me a very sinister question and sometimes very hurting, that when your country is such a spiritual country of yoga, and you call it a yoga bhumi, I say it is a yoga bhumi, no doubt. Then how is it you are so poor, you people are in trouble, and why are you suffering? The thing is, Krishna has said, yoga kshema vamyam. He said, when you get yoga, you will get your kshema. Not kshema first and then yoga. First you must get your yoga. If we get our yoga, then only our well-being will be looked after. Krishna said very clearly, yoga kshema vamyam. So first we have to get to our yoga. And those people who have tried to get to yoga have improved in every way, spiritually and materially as well. Because within us is the power to give us everything. Knowledge, well-being, the joy, which is the quality of your spirit. And once that joy starts pouring into you, you get rid of all your problems, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. You must be knowing, perhaps, that Sahaja Yoga has cured many patients of cancer, of leukemia, and so many other diseases, by not giving any medicines whatsoever, but only by awakening the Kundalini. Apart from that, many mad people have been cured through Sahaja. There are many people who have been taking drugs, alcoholics they came to Sahaja Yoga. Overnight they have given up everything. Because once you get the ultimate, the highest, then you don't indulge into all these things. And that's what it is. I have to request you all that you must also seek the highest, and all other things you forget. Just now you forget all your differences between, say, formless and God with form. All these differences you forget. Just forget all the differences. First you get your realization, and then we'll talk about it. It would be something, a very simple analogy, that you come to the center and it's all dark, and I ask you what to do. They said, alright, press this button and you'll get the light. It's as simple as that. First you get the light, and then one can talk about the rest of the things, what is to be done, and how to develop the deafness. The work of Sahaja Yoga started with only 6 people. For 4 years I was struggling with that. But today I am very proud to say that in England itself, I don't know how many thousand people we have got who are yogis, who are real yogis. They are not the ones who carry a mala and say, I'm this Ananda, that the Ananda, all these names they don't take. They don't change their dress, it's nothing. They are normal people. They live a normal life, but they are yogis because their awareness has become, now I again say it has become, collectively conscious. They have achieved in their spiritual awareness the collectively consciousness. And that has to happen. It is not giving any certificate, it is not giving a lecture, it cannot be a brainwash. Your Kundalini has to rise, and you yourself have to feel the cool breeze of the Kundalini, which is said as a Chaitanya Lahari or Ananda Lahari, described by the, really I would say the one who has described it the most is our Adi Shankaracharya. He is the one, we can say, the one who revived Hinduism to its new stage. He has all the time described about Kundalini and talked about it. Hindus should be proud that in their country they had such yes and such great people. But it's no use being just proud. It would be something like the lotuses in a pond, you see, and a little worm thinks, oh, I am in a pond where there are lotuses. That's not the way. We have to be proud that we have to become the lotus. Hindus have a very great responsibility in this country. You don't know how much responsibility you have, about which I will talk to you in Hindi. But the main thing is, I would like to know how many of you are really seeking God, really, innately from within. And if you are seeking, it is for your benefit that somehow or other my husband got elected to this job and I came here and this work has started. But I am very sad to say that my disciples are many, out of which Indians are very, very few. And those who are really doing a substantial work are mostly British. is surprising that they know more about Chaitanya and Omkara than we. It's not a very good thing. Tomorrow your children will ask. I went to another lecture where there were Muslims and Hindus, all sorts of people. And they were more worried about politics. All the ladies, I was surprised, they were so politically worried about things. Now the political side of it also is very simple to understand. All human politics is artificial. It has no meaning because it deals with money. Whether the money should be distributed to everyone or to kept to one person is all that politics is. To me it's a child's play. Actually it is so artificial that to a person like me, I cannot take it seriously. I'll tell you how. For example, now supposing if I have my own powers, I am the greatest capitalist because I have all the powers within myself, because I can do what I like, but I am the greatest communist. Because I can't live alone, I can't enjoy it myself, I must distribute, I must give to others. Because this is love. This is love to be enjoyed when it is reflected in the eyes of other people. So this is the main politics. This is the work of God. And this is how he does his politics. That he is a capitalist, he has everything within himself, he can do whatever he likes, but he wants to distribute it, he wants to give it to others. And he wants to see that others reflect his love. This is what it is, the politics of God we should take. Of course, these mundane things of life, everyday today life do disturb us and we feel upset about it because you are in this country. But I should, if you take to Sahaja Yoga, a new type of rapport will be established between you and the Sahaja Yogis. It's a new family that's coming up in India. And it's a very strong family. And they are all, for Indians, they have tremendous respect for various reasons of which you are not aware. They have tremendous respect for you. As it is, even if you are not Sahaja Yogis, they have tremendous respect. And that is how I feel that I should really be very thankful to you, sir, for bringing me here so that you have new friends, to give you a very mixed gathering here, so that you understand each other and help each other and bring forth the fruit of that Hindu philosophy. It's not an organized religion, it's a philosophy. And it's not even a philosophy, deep down, it's the roots, if you understand. It sustains everything and helps everyone. Even Christ is described in the Devi Mahatmya as Mahavishnu. But nobody knew about it because it's such an organized religion that they never wanted to see what Mahavishnu is. Same in India, nobody wanted to see what Christ is. What Muhammad Sahib is nothing but the Tattva. And we can prove it on Kundalini that they are all one and together. Christ has clearly said, those who are not against me are with me. Who are those? All these discoveries we have made through Sahaja Yoga, and I hope you make your discoveries and understand that Hindu religion is not a thing to be put into a cup. It's a very vast thing. It will encompass everything if you understand the essences of it. But we have forgotten it has got roots. And the roots must be understood, how deep it is. I'm now going to tell you something in Hindi language, I hope so. In this short time, whatever is possible about Kundalini, because it's a very mysterious thing and one has to understand because people do not know, that's why they call it mysterious. But otherwise, it's the easiest thing to do. And I would request you all to attend our programs. We have at different places, at Caxton Hall and also at town halls. We have programs. You please attend, take it up seriously and learn about it. The deep roots that have sustained Hindu philosophy. Unless and until you know that, you will be always challenged. You will challenge yourself. And tomorrow your own children will say this is all nonsense. Why do they go to a temple? Why do they do worship? What is the need to talk of God? Where is God? But the time has come today. Not only to talk about God, but to prove the existence of God and the existence of Chaitanya. May God bless you all.